Israel Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. All right. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. You understand? We could be anywhere else, doing anything else, but the Lord saw it fit for us to be here, man. You understand? It's a beautiful thing because our people are dying in the streets. Our people are suffering. Our people are mourning. You understand? Our people need a solution.
Right.
And the beautiful thing about if you are sitting in the I.S.U.P.K class right now, or if you're watching any I.S.U.P.K class from wherever you are right now, you are helping. You are being a part of the solution, man.
That's right.
Because the I.S.U.P.K is the solution to what we suffer in America, man.
That's right.
We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, out of Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA, man. We are not affiliated with no other Israelite groups or organizations.
Right.
We teach the truth according to the Bible, and that's that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the real Jews, the 12 tribes of Israel, and that the white man is the devil that same Bible speaks of. You understand?
Right.
Shalom, Yahweh Shalom, Yahweh Shem Barakatham to the brothers, Yahweh Shemalatham Bashim Yahweh to the sisters. You understand? I'm also 1,000 Chaazaq Imad. This is I.S.U.P.K BC. And tonight is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class. And the top of the class is there is no progress without brotherhood. You understand? You understand? Like, there are so many different black groups sprouting up all throughout America. You understand? And the problem with these black groups is that when you go into the inner workings of these groups, you'll find out that they're not really what they stand for. They don't really have what it takes to save our people. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you a perfect example. I was watching a video of this brother, man. And this brother, Lord be with him. You understand? He's been asking for money so he can build this school for little boys for a long time now. He's been asking for money. You understand? And I watched the interview of this brother. Many people may know him, Dr. Umar Johnson. You understand? And he did an interview on the Breakfast Club. And I'm listening to Charlamagne and DJ Envy. And they asked him, so what is the hardline solution? You understand? What is the solution? And that's a question that we all should be asking anybody that claims to be a leader of blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. Not what is the solution for everybody. What is our solution? Because our situation is not the same as every other race of people. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans don't live the same life that every other race of people live. Right. The things that we suffer in America further confirm that we are the Jews according to the Bible. I'll prove it. Give me Jeremiah 14:2. I'll prove it to you. You understand? And this is why I thought it was so profound that Charlamagne and DJ Envy asked this brother, Umar Johnson, what is the hardline solution? What's our solution, man? Because that's something that we have not been asking our so-called black leaders. That's something we have not been asking the Christian pastor. That's something we haven't been asking the black politicians and the black entertainers. What's our solution? And you know why we haven't been asking our so-called leaders that? Because we've been conditioned not to look for a solution, but to feel good. You understand? When us feeling good is not changing the suffering, the grief, the mourning, the tragedy that entails our lives. You understand?
Right.
This is how you know we're the real Jews according to the Bible. And this is why we need our own separate solution from every other race of people. Because our struggle is different from every other race of people.
Right.
Read that.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2. Judah mourneth.
Who mourneth?
Judah mourneth.
The scripture says Judah mourneth. I know a lot of brothers and a lot of sisters hear this scripture so many times and they don't really take too much thought into it. You know what I'm saying? You hear something over and over again, you really don't put too much thought into it. But this scripture says, Judah mourneth, man. Judah, according to the scriptures, is talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The word Jew is short for Judah. You understand? If you want to find out who the real Jews are, according to the Bible, then you have to go to this scripture right here. This is one of the scriptures you will have to go to. Read that again.
Judah mourneth. Blacks,
Hispanics, and Native Americans mourn. To mourn means to be like. Barack, give me the definition of mourn. Let me show you how you know this Bible is talking to our people. A specific set of people throughout the entire book, man. And this Bible is describing our life. Our life in 1619 and our life in 2020.
Right.
And then if we can continue to trust in America and vote, our life in 2021, 2022. If Christ don't come back and save us, you understand? Because America was built off of destroying the Lord's children. The same way Egypt was built off of destroying the Lord's children. Like I said, we'll prove it to you. Go ahead, read that, brother.
Mourn, feel or show deep sorrow or regret for, parentheses, someone or their death, typically by following conventions such as the wearing of black clothing. Mourning is to feel or express grief or sorrow.
To feel or express grief or sorrow. There is one set of people in America right now who live a life of constant grief and constant sorrow.
Right.
There's a people who live that life. Well, and I'll tell you who it is, and you know this to be true. If you're Black, Hispanic, or Native American, you know this is your life. There's a people who fight to get up in the morning to go slave. Like, we think that is an everybody thing. Like, there's a people that, in general, that we hate getting up in the morning because we know we're getting up to go slave. We know that the life we're living is nothing more than servitude for people who hate us, man. Like, ask somebody about grief and mourning. Ask Breonna Taylor's mother what grief and sorrow is. Ask Ahmaud Arbery's mother what grief and sorrow is. Ask Philando Castile's wife and daughter what grief and sorrow is, man. Ask Mamie Till what grief and sorrow is.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Ask the brothers behind bars what grief and sorrow is. Ask the Hispanic children in cages what grief and sorrow is, man. We are the people that this Bible is referring to.
Right.
Now, if the Jews are mourning, then that will have to mean that the so-called Jewish man is not the Jew. Because the Jews, the so-called Jewish man is not in mourning on the earth.
Right.
The Jewish man owns the Diamond District. Meaning, when people say this, and most brothers don't break this down. Let me break this down for you. Meaning, when you go and get a chain, and I mean, this may be hard to understand because most of us don't have the money to actually go out and get real diamonds and real gold. You know what I'm saying? And get it customized and all that. When black entertainers and rappers go out to buy their chains and buy their diamonds and buy the grills and all the things that make Israelites fly, like we always have done in the scriptures, do you know that we are buying that from the white man? The Jewish man, to be exact. I know you got Johnny Dang. Johnny Dang is an Asian cat that's famous in the rap industry that does the jewelry, but they outsource all that from the Jewish man. The Jewish man controls the jewelry trade. That's why if you go to jewelry stores in New York, you'll see Finkelstein and Company, Goldstein, Rubinstein, Rubenberg, Goldberg, Spielsberg, all those names. You'll see those in the jewelry stores because those are run by the Jewish man. The Jewish man runs Hollywood. The Jewish man runs politics. The Jewish man runs the earth. He's not in mourning, man. They live a life of luxury and deliciousness. Whenever you have your own police force, there's no need for you to be in mourning because your people are looking out for your people.
Right.
Black people have a people in their neighborhood who hate them. Black people have military occupation in our own neighborhoods. We're in mourning, man. We're in absolute mourning. Keep reading.
And the gates thereof languish.
And the gates thereof languish. What is the purpose of a gate, man? When you go and buy a house and you put up a fence or a gate, what is the purpose of it? Protection. To keep whatever you don't want out and to keep whatever you don't want to get out in. That's what a gate is for. Right. And the Bible is saying the protection of the real Jews are in mourning. The protection of the real Jews are in mourning. Lack. Read it again.
Okay. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish.
Our protection languishes. To languish means to be weak, man. To lack. Salaki, pull me up how synagogues are hiring private security. Pull me up an article talking about how synagogues hire armed security. Let me show you something, man. Black people, was there any protection against Dylan Roof Storm when he went and shot up that church in South Carolina and killed 9 black people? Was there any protection for them? No, because our protection is weak. Was there any protection for black men when they were stopping and frisking us in New York, which inevitably led to the death of Eric Garner? No, there wasn't. Was there any protection for the black women who went missing to the tune of 70,000? What's the sister who was killed in Fort Hood? Vanessa Gilliam? Was there protection for that sister? And she was in the military. You would think out of all places, she would be safe on the military base. But you know what we're learning, what we should have learned a long time ago? We are the real Jews, and our protection lacks, just like the Bible says. The people who are put in charge to protect our people have failed black people, man. The Christian pastors, I seen a video last night where the police in Chicago stopped a funeral procession to search people for guns. Have you ever seen that before? Have you ever seen that happen? Let alone to a white funeral. The Chicago police stopped a black funeral procession to search people for guns. And you know what I seen when I was watching the video? The pastor was there and he just stood back. He didn't step up and say and speak on behalf of the people. He didn't step in and volunteer himself to be arrested, or he didn't take the role of a leader. But these are the people that we give money to. These are the people that we make rich. You know how much black pastors have been getting rich off of funerals alone? We ain't talking about everyday Sunday service. Black pastors don't even have to have church every goddamn Sunday if they were just to operate off of funerals alone. Because the Jews are in mourning. Our protection lacks. It's weak, man. And you could blame these pastors for it. The so-called white man is not the real Jew. And I can prove it to you. You got that, Barack?
I have an article.
Go ahead, read
talks about it. Gun. Here's what it costs to put your synagogue under armed guards. New York, after a mass shooting in a heavily Jewish area shocked the nation, Rabbi Yaakov Sachs felt like his Long Island congregation was at risk.
Now, why do you select it? Now, you notice it said the shooting of a Jewish synagogue shocked the nation. Why do you think this is so shocking to the nation? Why is the shooting of a Jewish synagogue shocking?
Because the Jewish synagogue usually faces no hate crimes.
I wouldn't say that, because they face spray painting. The people spray painting on it, those are fellow white people. But it's another reason why. It's more specifically.
Smart, sir, if I may. They don't go through things like this. They're not in mourning.
They don't suffer the things that we suffer. That was shocking. All across the Jews across the world were shocked at this. But how could this happen here? All the money we spend on protecting our synagogues, right here in D.C. on 6th and I Street, you have the DC police car that is dedicated to sitting right in front of the goddamn synagogue. That's they have enough money to pay for DC police to spare 2 officers in 1 patrol car to sit in front of their goddamn synagogue 24/7. This is why this is shocking. You understand? Keep reading.
So the rabbi installed 17 cameras on the synagogue's exterior that can zoom in to read numbers on license plates, as well as indoor cameras at each entrance. He began covering the windows with Kevlar at around $800 a piece, making them shatterproof in case vandals hit them with rocks.
Now, what we're reading about here, this is not talking about this one mosque specifically. But you know they implemented this all across the country. Kevlar, $800 a piece Kevlar on the windows. Cameras that can zoom in on license plates. What else they said they had?
17 cameras on the exterior and 17 cameras on the inside at $800 a piece.
Keep reading.
And he hired armed security guards to protect the Hebrew school and Shabbat service.
Armed security guards. Does this sound like their protection is weak? This sound like they got the protection of a military base, of a goddamn U.S. embassy.
Right.
You got Kevlar on the windows.
Right.
Come on, man. They don't even have Kevlar at the military bases on the windows.
Right.
They blowing up military buildings right now because there's no Kevlar on the buildings. The Jewish man is not the real Jew according to the Bible.
That's right.
His protection is not lacking.
Right.
He's the most protected people on the face of the earth.
Right.
And outside of physically, how else are they protected? Let's get the article. Give me the article about Facebook. I'm gonna show you the real Jews are black. Give me the article on about Facebook. And before we read that article, give me the scriptures of the Jews are black. All right, watch it. We hit Jeremiah 14:2. Give me another one. Precepts. Let me show you something, man. If you didn't know the Jews are black according to the Bible, then the person who you were learning the Bible from failed you. If you didn't know Christ was a black man, and when I say black man, I'm talking about Christ was a nigger, man.
Right.
Stop taking that from us, man. We don't have nothing else in this world but the fact that our King and Savior, the greatest ever walked the earth, is a black man just like us.
Right.
And the world wants to take that from us? God damn. We can't have the fact that our King is black.
Right.
When history has proven he's a black man.
Right.
The Bible proves he's a black man.
Right.
But our protection fails, man. We have no protection. You got one? You got a precept for me?
Come.
Go ahead and read that, all right.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fall with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand.
This is describing the curses that we suffer. Give me the color scriptures, all right. This right here is describing the curses that we suffer, man. Our sons and daughters will be given to another people. Who suffered this one in America, man? Who suffered? Not only who suffered past tense, we know black people when we came over here, our sons and daughters were sold to other slave masters, man. Bakwasha brought out in the history class last night how Christopher Columbus sold our women and our children as sex slaves. Our daughters and sons were given to other people. They were taken from us. And you know what's happening right now? Hispanic children at the border in the United States of America are being ripped from their families and being put in detention centers and cages. And now we're coming to find out that a lot of these children have gone missing, quote unquote missing. This is us. We are the people that fulfill these prophecies in the Bible, man.
Right.
Because this book is talking to us.
Right.
Why are we running from that, man? This book is referring to one set of people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man.
That's right.
And tonight is the Brotherhood class, but we have to first establish This book is talking to us, man. When we understand the book is talking to us, then we'll understand what this brotherhood means.
That's right.
We'll understand who it's talking to and who it only pertains to.
That's right.
Brotherhood is not for us to have for everybody else. Brotherhood is you not allowing everybody else to come in here.
That's right.
Just like other fake Israelite groups. If you allow Africans to come into your organization when the Bible says Africans are enemies, then you don't love your people.
That's right.
If you allow white people to come into your organization when the Bible says they are our enemy, then you don't love your own people.
That's right.
And if you allow anyone outside of your people to come amongst your people when they are our enemies,
right,
you don't love your people, man. You don't have brotherhood according to the Bible. You got that? Go ahead, read that.
Precept Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers.
Now there were at the church at Antioch, man, certain prophets and teachers. The same way in UPK, you have prophets and teachers. Keep reading.
As Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger.
That was called what?
Niger.
I bet you didn't know nigga is in the Bible. I remember when I first heard this on a Kemp speaking video, it absolutely blew my mind.
Right.
I remember hearing, I believe it was Commander General YAHANNA. Did you know that nigga is in the Bible? I said, oh, these niggas lying. I said, oh, they lying. I should have cut the video off. I would have had. And he said that. I was like, yeah, these niggas lying. I sat back, took a puff of that blunt and said, let me hear these niggas lie on this one. Let me hear them finesse this.
Right.
And they read this right here. Read it again. Nigga is in the Bible. And I'll tell you why the word nigga is in the Bible.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers.
Now there was at this church translates today school. There was at this particular school in Antioch certain prophets and teachers, right?
Right.
Keep reading.
As Barnabas and Simeon.
This is named the two specific prophets and teachers. Barnabas and Simeon. Keep reading.
That was called Niger.
That was called what?
Niger.
That was called Niger, man. The word Niger comes from the Latin root to mean black.
Right.
These prophets were called Niger the same way when we got to America. What were we called? Nigger.
That's right.
With the hard R.
That's right.
Which turned to nigga. You got a lot of black people now. Well, I'm a black man. I'm not a nigga.
What?
I hear you, brother. I can understand why brothers would say that because in our head, we associate nigga with everything negative about black people.
Right.
When in all actuality, Christ was a nigga, man.
That's right.
Meaning Christ was a black man. That's all it means. It comes from the root, the Latin root to mean Niger, which means black.
Right.
That's what it means. Just like in Spanish, what is the word for black? Negro. That's right. Negro, man. Negro. For different, I forgot who says Negro. Niger is the root word for black. You understand? And this is what we don't understand right here. The Bible is the most accurate historical records on the face of the earth.
Right.
How come the pastors never taught us this, never showed us this? Right. The prophets and teachers were called Niger. The same way when we go out on the street corners, we're called, y'all niggas need to get a job. You niggas don't know what you're talking about. White people get mad. You niggas will walk in. They'll wait till they walk all the way down the street, though. They're cowards. And hold up their middle finger, nigger, nigger. That's what they'll do. And this was no different then. We suffered the same things then. We were called Niger. You understand?
Right.
Who got the Bible dictionary?
I got you talking about the Strongs?
Yeah, you got it. Let's type in Antioch. I want to see. Let's find out where Antioch was. Antioch. Keep reading.
Come.
Antioch.
That was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaeum, which had been brought up with Herod and Tetrarch and Saul.
Right. Go give me the next precept for the color scripture of Al-Kashar. Let me show you the real Jews are black. They've always been black. They always will be black. And when we understand that, we will understand that this book is ours, man.
That's right.
We don't have anything else in this captivity except this book. And the problem is we aren't accepting the one thing that truly belongs to us. Nothing else belongs to us in this place. Whatever you claim to have, whatever you can claim to be your possession in this place can be taken from you. Name one thing that you think is yours in America. And I can prove to you that it can be taken from you. Name one thing. One of our brothers name something. Name something that you would think it belongs exclusively to you.
So I made your house.
Foreclosure. Foreclosure. That's how they got all the gentrified all the neighborhoods. They took all the black people's houses in DC. And this is what's so sad. I'm gonna come to you, right? This is what's so crazy about that. Black people, you see them big, what they call them, not four squares, brownstones. You see all them big, nice brownstones out there in DC and in the old town DC and all that. Those houses were built by black people that came up to DC during the Great Migration, man. They built these big houses because the family size of black people was much larger at that time. So we didn't build these little 3-bedroom houses and 4-bedroom houses you see now. These brownstones a lot of them got 4 floors. A lot of them got a basement, first floor, second floor, third floor. Or they just got first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, man. These houses be having 7 and 8 rooms because black people built those houses coming up from the South with big families. And we built these nice, expensive, they weren't expensive then, but we built these brownstones all throughout DC. And DC was Chocolate City. And we thought the city was ours. And we thought these houses belonged to us. And the white man, being the devil that he is, came and shown us that we own absolutely nothing in this place. They foreclosed on our homes and turned around, and now they're selling them for $2, $4, $5 million in DC to white people. You understand? Name me something else, Barack.
So like my answer was kind of like a small answer.
What?
The I.S.U.P.K.
The I.S.U.P.K. They can't take that from us. That goes with the Bible. Right. But name something that you think that we have. Let me say your woman. Everybody know your woman can be taken. Your kids, your children can be taken. America makes it where if somebody reports you, they'll send social services to your house, send the police to your house. Now you got to abide by their rules and to be monitored by the white man, who's the devil. You understand? So they don't take your children from you because they have always done that, man. You understand? Go ahead.
So, your independent business. Your business.
Your business, hell. Black people can't even get business loans. Let alone keep a business if you actually happen to start a business up. They say most black businesses fail within the first year. Most businesses fail within the first year, but black businesses account for the majority of those businesses that fail. Anything that we think that we have in this place that belongs to us, we really don't have it. It can be taken from us.
Right.
But you know what can't be taken from us? That if we wanted it back, we can keep it and take it. Our identity, man. Our records. They can't take that from us and we claimed it back, man.
Right.
If we stood up like the brothers in the I.S.U.P.K. has done since 1969 and said, this is not your book. These are not your records. You are not the Jew, Mr. White Man. If we stood up like we do now and claimed it for ours, they can't take that from us. You can lock me up all you want. You take everything I got, and guess what? I'll still know I'm a Jew. You know what I'm saying? I'm in prison. You know the Jews was black, right? Yeah. You took everything from me, and I'm still a Jew. You can't take that from us, man.
Right.
We should embrace the only thing that we really have in this place. Where's we at? Antioch.
So like, I had it, but it just says a place in Syria in the Strongs.
That's all I needed. A place in Syria. Keep in mind, these prophets were not in their own land. The Syrians are heathens.
Right.
Antioch is a place where we had a school, you understand, where we taught the truth according to the Bible. And because we taught the truth according to the Bible, in a foreign land, in a heathen land, guess what we were called? Niger. The same way in America, the same way in America, this is not our land. This is a foreign land to us, man. Our people are indigenous to America. And when I say that, I'm not saying that Native Americans weren't here first, but the Native Americans aren't indigenous to America, man. Right. Our homeland is Jerusalem, man. Jerusalem is the mother of us all. That's what the Bible says. That's our homeland, man. But America is a foreign place to us, and we teach and have schools all throughout America. And guess what they call us in America? Nigger. The same way we would call Niger in foreign lands in Syria amongst the heathens. We're the real Jews, man. You got the next precept for me?
Come. Job chapter 30, verse 30. My skin is black upon me.
My skin is what?
Black upon me.
The Bible says, this is Job, man. If you know anything about Job, the Bible calls Job a perfect and upright man in the Lord's sight. And Job is telling you, he's a black man, man. The Lord is telling us, man, that Job is a black man. Read it again.
Come. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burnt with heat.
Keep reading.
My heart also is turned to mourning, and my organ into the voice of them that weep.
You have to go on YouTube and type it in.
It's only, okay, come. The what?
Job is telling us his skin is black because guess what? Contrary to popular belief, the real Jews are black.
Right.
It's not hard to understand. The records we read about in this book are our historical records. This is not fairy tale, man. This is not us making this up on the spot or some new thing. This has always been like, I hear people talk about, this new movement, this new thing with the Hebrew Israelites. It's, this is not a movement. This is not a new thing. This is the historical records of what has always been and what still is. And that's that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the people of the Bible.
That's right.
Keep reading. Let me slide. Give me the next precept.
Come.
We got that article on the Facebook?
Come.
Yeah, you got it.
Let's read that. Let me show you how the Jewish man is not the real Jews, according to the Bible. I'm going to show you something right here. The Jewish man, his protection is not weak. And we named one of the aspects of protection. We named the physical protection. You understand? Like black people, our physical protection is weak. You understand? The white man's physical protection, the Jewish man's physical protection is not weak. He was able to buy cameras, Kevlar, bulletproof glass for his windows. He's able to pay police officers and security guards. Black people, we don't have that.
Right.
We're not able to get those things to protect us physically. But let me show you another aspect of protection that lets you know we are the real Jews and they are not the real Jews. You go ahead and read that, brother.
This is an article out of the New York Times titled Facebook Bans Content About Holocaust Denial from Its Site.
Facebook bans content. Read it again.
About Holocaust denial from its site.
About Holocaust denial from its site. Uh-oh. It's about to get sticky. Let's keep reading.
In 2018, Facebook's chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg, famously cited Holocaust deniers in a fumbled attempt to make a point about free speech. At the time, he said the deniers, those who reject or distort the Holocaust, a genocide in which millions of Jews and others were killed by Nazis and their collaborators during World War II, were a key example of people whom he personally disagreed with.
Stop right there. Facebook was started by who?
What's the name? Mark Zuckerberg, something like that.
Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook is ran by who?
So like I said, if I made a so-called Jew.
What's his name?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg. If you didn't know, Mark Zuckerberg is a so-called Jewish man, right? And Mark Zuckerberg, being the owner and the chief executive officer, the CEO of Facebook, he has made it where his platform has taken away the First Amendment right for people who do not believe in the Holocaust being real. Now, let me show you the hypocrisy of the white man and how you know the Jewish man is not those people in the book. Keep reading.
But he said he did not think Facebook should censor or remove what they posted because I think there are things that different people get wrong. On Monday, Mark Zuckerberg announced he was reversing his decision. Facebook, he said, would now ban content denies or distorts the Holocaust.
Facebook would now ban content that denies or distorts the Holocaust. The Holocaust was the murder of about 6 million Jewish men, the so-called Jews, man, the white man, not the real Jews, but the murder of 6 million of his people. And let me show you to tie this into the Brotherhood. Mark Zuckerberg has so much brotherhood for his people that he used his platform like a good leader does.
Right. And
he said, you're not going to lie and distort anything about what happened to my people.
Right.
This happened to my people. My people suffered, and I'm going to use my platform, no matter how unconstitutional it is, to protect my people, man. That's brotherhood. That is absolutely brotherhood. Right. Why can't black leaders risk it all the way Mark Zuckerberg? Do you know what Mark Zuckerberg did is unconstitutional?
Right.
That's what they call in politics a slippery slope. Meaning, if Mark Zuckerberg banned the free speech of people who didn't believe in the Holocaust, what can he now start to do? You understand what slippery slope means. If Mark Zuckerberg is able to ban people who don't believe the Holocaust is real, who else can he now start to ban?
Sir, if I may.
Tie it all in together.
Anybody he see fit that doesn't agree with him.
Yes, that's the answer, but more specifically.
I might be off, but just to add, not only that, but the real people that the Holocaust happened to.
The real Holocaust.
The real. He'll be able to deny or not include the real Holocaust.
There you go. That's what I want. Now, because because Mark Zuckerberg is allowed to ban people who disagree that the Holocaust is real, now he could ban people who believe that the Jewish man is not the real Jews. You understand? That's protection. That's protection on a whole other level. When you can protect your people and you don't even have to lift a finger, man. That's protection. Mark Zuckerberg was able to exercise brotherhood for his people to protect his people when what he did was absolutely unconstitutional. Who's not to say that he'll ban somebody because they don't agree with who his favorite team is? You know what I'm saying? Like, he can do that. We read in the article, it said Mark Zuckerberg personally does not agree with people who think the Holocaust didn't happen.
Right.
He personally disagrees with them. And he used his personal bias to determine what gets put on Facebook and what doesn't. That's power, first of all. That's power when you can control who can say what and who can't say something, man. That's power. And not only is that power, we get a glimpse of what black leaders should be doing for black people. How many black people have a platform and don't risk it all for their people? Mark Zuckerberg was willing to be called unconstitutional, you know what I'm saying, unpatriotic. He was willing to suffer whatever came with the fact that he violated the First Amendment, man.
Right.
But he did it for the sake of his people. Now you got black people that can't even goddamn give money to their people, let alone sacrifice. We ain't asking you to sacrifice your career. You spent like goddamn. We asking you to give some money. You still have the money coming in because you still have the career. Mark Zuckerberg was willing to sacrifice it all for his people, man. Which lets you know they aren't the real Jews.
Right.
They are not the real Jews because the real Jews are our protection is weak. Mark Zuckerberg is a leader for his people.
Right.
Who do we have to look up to for black people that will do something like that? We don't have nobody. Go ahead, Barack.
Now I was gonna say, in their gates aren't language, their leadership is not weak.
Exactly.
For them.
Exactly. That's the perfect point. That's what I'm saying. Their leadership is not weak. That's what they gave. This is what we don't understand. And if y'all should go back and watch that interview with the Breakfast Club with Umar Johnson. I know he got a bunch of them on there, but watch them. It's a particular one. I think he got like a green and black shirt. And I'm not telling you to watch it because what Umar Johnson is saying is profound and nothing like that because he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't have the solutions. I want you to actually watch the interview because Charlemagne and Envy are asking questions and saying things that every black people should understand. DJ Envy said, no, if we were to protest today, it would fail because we don't have a leader.
Right.
This is out of a brother who is not wise. This cat is not a prophet in here. He's not wise. He doesn't follow the laws, but he's smart enough to know we fail as a people because we don't have leaders.
Right.
He said that out of his own mouth. You gotta watch it, man. You gotta go back and watch that interview. I sat and watched it, and there was so many different talking points on there. I was like, this is crazy. Umar, he didn't have a solution. His solution was going to march on Washington and marching on the African Union and marching on the United Nations. That's not a solution, man. Umar, we've been marching for 60 years, man. The solution is us being willing to sacrifice for our people the way Mark Zuckerberg sacrificed for his.
Right.
The problem is our leaders aren't willing to do that. The people who we look to for protection are not willing to do that. You understand? Keep reading the article, Bible Show.
Come. In announcing the change, Facebook cited a recent survey that found that nearly a quarter of American adults ages 18 to 39 said they believed the Holocaust either was a myth or was exaggerated.
This is hilarious. 1 out of every 4 people believe the Holocaust was a myth. It didn't happen or it was exaggerated. And that's good. You know why? It's good that people don't believe this. Precept. It's good that people are starting not to believe what the white man has told us. Precept. I'll give it to you times 6.
It might be all, but I wonder if it can go with it. That not in the end, but that the books were open.
That's referring to the records. This is the precept for this one is that the man of sin, the man of perdition be revealed, and there come a great falling away. Get that from me.
Okay.
The man of sin being revealed. I believe that's Thessalonians 5:12.
Comes.
Let me see, my memory is good.
It is.
So it's locking. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little rusty, but I still got a little
I
juice.
understand.
Let me show you why this is a good thing that 1 out of every 4 people today in modern America with modern information believe the Holocaust didn't happen, or they believe it was exaggerated. This is good. This is a good thing. I'm going to tell you why this is a good thing. And this is what it should be 4 out of 4 believe the Holocaust didn't happen or was exaggerated. And I'm going to explain to you why. What we got? Go ahead and read.
First Thessalonians.
1 Thessalonians 5:12.
First Thessalonians 5:12. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Lord, and admonish you.
Is this it?
So that was 1 Thessalonians 5:12.
Hold up. Bro, you co-signing with me, it's the wrong precept.
I was saying you had, memory was right. That's what I was saying. It's like,
Let me see. Give me man of sin revealed. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3.
I knew you was right, sir. That's a lot.
Now, easy, look, that's the brother get you in trouble. He riding with you when you're wrong. He's like, yeah, that sound right.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Verse 12.
Verse 3.
Verse 3. Let no man deceive you.
Let no man deceive you. Why do we call the white man the devil that the Bible speaks of?
So like it serve by me, because he's the greatest deceiver on the planet.
He is the greatest deceiver on the face of the earth. The word devil means deceiver. How has the white man deceived blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans? How? In what way has he deceived blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans?
So like it serve by me, telling us that the Jews are not black.
Telling us, meaning through his words. Through his words. The white man has deceived us through his words. Right? Keep reading. I'm going to show you why it's a good thing that in modern times, there's 25% of people still believe the Holocaust was made up or myth. Every time I hear it, it's funny because it's an actual historical thing. It actually happened. But it's a good thing people don't believe what these devils are saying, because this is why. Let no man deceive you. Well, we've been deceived by a white man. You understand? We didn't follow the Bible. Keep reading.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first.
Read up one verse. What day is this talking about? Let's read.
Verse 2. That ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that day of Christ is at hand.
As that what?
That day of Christ is at hand.
What is the day of Christ? Somebody break it down to me as simple as possible for somebody that may not know the truth. What is the day of Christ?
The day Christ returns to give salvation to the nation of Israel, to bathe these streets, you know what I'm saying, in blood.
That's right. The day of Christ is the day he returns.
Right.
You understand? That's his day. The day he returns to remove the current order on the earth. And that's white supremacy. Because there is a man that has went throughout the earth and deceived the entire earth. And now the earth is underneath the order of white supremacy. It doesn't matter where you go throughout on this planet. It is influenced by white supremacy, man. It is influenced by white supremacy. You understand? And the day of Christ is when Christ comes to destroy white supremacy and the empires on this earth and establishes black rulership on the earth. Well, that day cannot come. Keep reading. Let's jump back down. The day of Christ cannot come.
That day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first.
Except there what?
Come a falling away first.
What is the falling away? I'm gonna break this down. It's gonna tell you later in the scripture, but let's break down what's the falling away. Meaning, Christ cannot come to destroy white supremacy until the falling away happens. What's the falling away?
The falling away is the time where the man of sin will be revealed.
What does that mean? Meaning, what has to happen for Christ to come back? Meaning this. Go ahead, Brock.
Scripture said come out of her. You know what I'm saying? So fall back, you know what I'm saying? Fall out of the spirit of America. Fall out of the culture of America. You know, stop trimming your ways to be American. You know what I mean? So like that fall back that has to happen is another precept, you know what I'm saying? Like Christ coming back, you know what I'm saying? What if that fire is already kindled? Like you gotta
Right.
fall back.
Now, what are you falling out of? It's a word that's in the verse that you have to use to understand.
Perdition.
Not the perdition. What are you falling out of?
I didn't hear it.
Read verse 3 again.
Let no man deceive you.
No man what?
Deceive you.
What are you falling out of?
That deception.
The deception, man. This is what has to happen before Christ come back. What is deception of the man of sin? The man of perdition. What is the deception of him? We all know the man of sin is referring to the white man. We've established that. That's why it says, let no man deceive you. What is the deception of the white man? We talk. It's common. It's a simple answer. We said it earlier.
That he's superior over blacks and Hispanics.
That he's superior over blacks, native Hispanics, meaning that he's the Jew and that we are beneath him. That's the deception of the white man. That Christ is a white boy. The white man was able to establish his authority on the earth with the deception of Caesar Borgia being Christ.
Right.
That's how it happened. Like, if you don't understand how powerful it is, and you don't understand history and how powerful images are, that's why the Renaissance, the time period that the image of Christ was painted as Caesar Borgia. What does the word Renaissance mean? Right?
Rebirth.
The rebirth. Because the Renaissance was the rebirth of white supremacy on the earth. And they did it through the painting and the whitewashing of all the images of black men in the Bible. Go ahead, bro.
And that's, if I'm correct, sir, that's, coming out of the Dark Ages.
Right. That's coming right out of the Dark Ages. The Renaissance was right after the Dark Ages. You understand? That's what that was. And that's when they were able to establish white supremacy on the earth through that deception. Well, this is the beautiful thing about one in every 4 people not believing the Holocaust didn't happen or it was exaggerated. How does this tie into that? How does that tie into it? When 60 years ago, it wasn't as prevalent as people not believing it. Like, you couldn't tell somebody that just went and fought in World War II this didn't happen. Right. You couldn't tell the child of a man who died to go free the Jewish man out of Holocaust camp that didn't happen. Why is it now, after all this time, that there's skepticism about this happening? How does that tie into the scriptures? Because the man of sin is being revealed. Meaning people are not believing the Holocaust happened or it was exaggerated because now they're seeing that white people lie. Right. That the Jewish man is a liar. That has to be that way, man. Our people have to wake up and realize these people have been lying. And it's good that people are now starting to not, it's that to say you don't believe the Holocaust happened or you believe it's exaggerated means now you're starting to question the oppressor. Whereas before, black people didn't question whether or not Christ was black or not. Black people didn't question whether or not the Holocaust happened or not. But now you have a rising tide of people questioning everything the white man has previously told us, which in turn means the man of sin is being revealed to be a liar. That's what it means to deceive. The trooper Yahweh said it, to lie. That's what the deception is. To deceive means you're a liar. You understand? And that's why the white man's a devil. Give me the scripture, father, the precept, hold that, and give me the precept, father of lies. Give me that. And I'll show you, prove the white man's the devil and he's not the real Jew according to the Bible, man. Everything that we teach in the I.S.U.P.K. is biblical. And that's why we'll never lose a debate. That's why our enemies can never confound us. And that's why this can never be taken from us, no matter what our enemies seek to do to us. You can destroy. They kill Abba Bivens in Jersey. The Muslims killed Abba Bivens in Jersey. And did that stop black men from knowing they were the real Jews? No. You can't stop this, man. This is greater than you. devil. This is greater than you for any Black, Hispanic, or Native American that think you can stop this program or you can hinder this program. This is greater than you, man. This is bigger than you. It always was. It's bigger than you. You understand? You can't take this from us. And as time goes on, you're going to realize the ISUPK is laying the groundwork for the day of Christ, because we are the ones that go out on the streets and tell Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and the goddamn white man. The white man is the devil the Bible speaks of.
Right.
For all of you that wonder why we say that, because if you want Christ to come back, it has to be said. Christ can't come back with our people still loving this society. Christ can't come back. That's why I said the precept that I brought out, and how great it be that the fire already be, the Christ is coming to set this place ablaze, and how great it be that the fire already be kindled. Meaning Christ is already coming to destroy white supremacy. But how much better would it be that he come here and niggas is like the white man's the devil. Black people as a whole is like, yeah, we know he the devil. How great would it be that Christ comes back to his people already destroying white supremacy in their minds? Because Christ is coming to destroy it physically and psychologically. But how much better is it that psychologically Christ ain't gotta convince us that the white man's the devil? We already know it, because brothers are going out on the street corners and telling our people this man is a liar. He's a deceiver. That's what to deceive means, to lie. Go ahead, read that.
Come. The book of John, chapter 8, verse 44. You are of your father, the devil.
Ooh-wee. You are of your what?
Your father, the devil.
You are of your father, the devil, man. The devil. Who's this talking to? Let's keep reading. Why is he so sloppy? Why is he calling him the devil? Let's find out.
And the lust of your father ye will do.
Meaning the sinful things that your father, the devil, does, you will do. Keep reading.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a murderer from the beginning. Who was the first murderer recorded? Who was a murderer from the beginning?
Sorry, that was Cain.
Cain. And everybody knows Cain had the spirit of the devil on him, man. Now keep reading. I'll bring it down further. Keep reading.
And abode not in the truth.
And abode not in the truth. Keep reading.
Because there is no truth in him.
There is no truth in him. Keep reading.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. What does that mean? When he speaketh of a lie, he speaketh of his own. It's a common phrase Black people say in Christianity. And this sums up this phrase, this right here. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. Think of a phrase people say and Christians say. You may not know, because brothers are so far removed in here from the church. These are some hardcore soldiers in here. Like Christians, what Christians say, we don't know. The devil is a lie. The devil, yeah, now you go to hell. The devil is a lie.
Yeah, the devil's a lie.
Read that again.
Come. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
The devil is a lie. When he speaketh of a lie, he's speaking of himself. The devil, man. Keep reading.
Come. For he is a liar.
For he is a liar. The devil is a lie. Christians got many phrases. That's one of them that they got right. The problem is they don't know who the devil is. They call other Black people the devil when they don't understand the white man is the devil. Keep reading.
Come.
Is that the end of the verse or more?
A little bit more. Sir.
Keep reading.
And the father of it.
And the father of it. The white man is the father of lies. The devil, man. He's the father of lies because he is a liar.
Right.
It's nothing for him to lie. And that's how he established his reign on the earth, through lying, through deceiving, and telling people that he was the real Jew, when in all actuality, the real Jews are Black, according to the Bible.
Right.
The day of Christ cannot come unless we realize that the white man is a liar. He is not the real Jew,
right.
And we should question everything that he tells us. That's why we brought up the point. It's so good that 1 in 4 people don't believe the Holocaust is real. Drop that. Let's go back to the article. We went on a little tangent, but we had to take that little route to break that down. You got to read things and see how it pertains to what we're going through, man, and what it leads up to. You understand? We need more people to not believe everything the government says. Like, black people are going to go out and vote November 3rd because they still don't believe the white man's the devil.
Right.
They still don't believe this man is a liar. Like, feel that for a second. Black people are going to go and vote for a man who was responsible for 2 million black people being in prison. And they're going to go vote for him because of what he says, man. Because they don't understand when he speaks of a lie, he speaks of himself. They don't understand this is the devil we're dealing with. Because the white man has not been revealed to be who he is.
Right.
We're doing all we can. We're doing what we can in the UPK. But clearly that man of sin has not been fully revealed yet. Or unless black people wouldn't go and vote.
Right.
If the man of sin was revealed, black people would say, he's lying.
Right.
Biden is lying. Trump is lying. We're not voting. That's how you would know it's about time for Christ to come back.
Right.
Because now you'll see black people have been the what's it called? The wool has been pulled off of our eyes, man.
Right.
Now we see the white man for who. Yeah. Did any of y'all ever remember that moment when you first started to look at the white man different? You know what I'm saying? Like some of us, even if you was in the world and you hated the white man, there was a moment when it really solidified where you looked at the white man as the devil. Can anybody remember that moment when you looked at him different? I can remember the moment when I really started to view the white man different. And it made me view everything about this place differently. It made me view my life differently. Now I understand that he's the devil. It's like now I have to look for people who I can side with.
Right.
And when you realize that the only people you can side with is your people, that's brotherhood, man. Right. Brotherhood comes, that should have been the title of the class. Brotherhood comes from us knowing the white man is a devil. Black people don't want to join together because we don't think that the white man is a devil. This is why black people were so successful prior to integration. Can anybody break it down? Why do you think black people were so successful coming out as poor slaves?
So like, sir, if I may, because we knew who the devil was.
How do we know?
From the treatment.
They were lynching us. You're absolutely right. Like, how can you deny that these people are the devil when I know that any second they can come to my house and rip my son from this house and beat him and sodomize him and throw him in the river, man? They did that to me was. Now that the format has changed and black people have been given a little bit of crumbs, we can't see who the man of perdition is. And because of that, it has caused us to not have brotherhood for our own people. Because now we're trying to join with the people who hate us because we don't believe they're the devil.
Right.
Keep reading.
Come on. I've struggled with the tension between standing for free expression and the harm caused by minimizing or denying the horror of the Holocaust, Mr. Zuckerberg wrote in his blog post. Drawing the right lines between what is and isn't acceptable speech isn't straightforward, but with the current state of the world, I believe this is the right balance.
With the current state of the world, what is Mark Zuckerberg trying to say right here, man? Y'all prophets, what is this saying, prophets? Let's go, brothers. What is Mark Zuckerberg saying? Read that part again when you just started from.
Come. The whole thing?
Yeah, when you just started back up. Go ahead.
Come. I've struggled with the tension between standing for free expression and the harm caused by minimizing or denying the horror of the Holocaust, Mark Zuckerberg wrote in his blog post. Drawing the right lines between what is and isn't acceptable speech isn't straightforward.
Stop. Mark Zuckerberg says drawing the line between what is acceptable and unacceptable speech is what?
Isn't straightforward.
Isn't straightforward. Now let me ask you something. Does Mark Zuckerberg work for Congress? Is he a senator? Is he in the House of Republicans? What's the House of Congress? Is Mark Zuckerberg in politics at all? Who the hell is he to decide what's acceptable or unacceptable when it comes to a constitutional right? Let me show y'all something about how the white man is the devil, and I'm gonna give you the precept to prove it.
So like on the sidebar, if I may, Mark, how you say it, Zuckerberg? I don't care. Mark Zuckerberg, by saying that statement, he could care less about a voting system. He doesn't need to actually vote in order to be a leader and say, listen, this is when I don't have to be your congressman. I don't have to be your senator. I don't have to be your governor. I don't have to be none of those to say that this is not acceptable, or what is and what's not acceptable for the unrightful treatment that happened to my people.
Right.
I don't have to, be through that. That's it's saying I don't care about your constitution.
Right.
This is my
The brother came with a perspective that was absolutely heavy. Like, okay, what Barack just said is, feel this for a second. Mark Zuckerberg is not running for office. Mark Zuckerberg's never been in politics. He didn't write none of the goddamn 27 amendments. But Mark Zuckerberg said, to hell with, he's saying the line between what's acceptable and unacceptable is not a straight line. Meaning he is taking it upon himself to decide what is acceptable or not for his people. He's disregarding the Constitution. He's disregarding what the law says, because he has an obligation and duty to his people that he doesn't need to be. Listen, I'll make this decision. That Constitution, that doesn't work for us. That doesn't work for us. Yep, that Constitution, that's not good for us. You understand? I'll decide what's acceptable or not, because this is bad for my people. Which shows you, to be a leader, we don't need the U.S. political system. Mark Zuckerberg didn't use the U.S. political system to stop what he wanted to do, because what he did goes against U.S. politics. It goes against the Constitution. But he did what he used his power and platform for the benefit of his people. Go ahead, Ron.
Sorry, sir, if I may. He's basically saying, I'm white and it is what I say it is.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Sorry, sir. It was either one of the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds, the older ones. They said in the interview, the politics really don't matter. I got the money, so politics is nothing to me.
Now, imagine if the black billionaires thought like that. Like, black billionaires and millionaires are the only ones that feel bound by the constraints that no other billionaires or any race feels. Like, Mark Zuckerberg made a power move. Like, I got money, so what I'll do is make a decision. Why Jay-Z can't feel that way? Jay-Z had I ain't going to go, that's another topic. Why can't our billionaires take that type of stance for the sake of their people? Mark Zuckerberg went as far as to do something that is absolutely unconstitutional against the very First Amendment. It's the First Amendment because it's the most important one. The First Amendment is what they call your basic freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of I forgot what it was. Right to assembly, right to protest. You understand? This all is found in the First Amendment, the most important one. And Mark Zuckerberg violated that for the sake of his people. He used his power for something good. What are you doing, Al Sharpton?
Right.
Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Jay-Z, Umar, Grandmaster J, Grandmaster J, whatever your name is. What are y'all doing?
Right.
What are you doing for real? I ain't gonna say Kamala Harris, because she's not our people. We don't expect you to do that for us. Oprah, what are you doing? What are all you black billionaires and millionaires doing, man? Y'all get so happy and take pride on being on the Forbes list. You should be ashamed.
Right.
You should be disgusted that you make that goddamn Forbes 30 under 30 and billionaire and millionaire club list, P. Diddy and all that. You should be ashamed because your people live the way they live and you made this list. Right. The culture is so different amongst ourselves. We have no brotherhood.
Right.
And it is absolutely a shame that some stinking devil has to show our people what brotherhood looks like.
Right.
It's an absolute travesty that some stinking rat bastard has to show the Lord's children what love looks like. It's a shame, man. All you billionaires and millionaires out there that have the platform, that have that money, you should feel ashamed to have that power and money and influence and to see your people live the worst in America. You should feel ashamed. But you don't feel ashamed because you are a greedy, disgusting bastard.
Right.
You're worse than the white man. And that's why when Christ was on the earth, he spoke against you Negroes, man.
Right.
That's what we just read about. You are of your father, the devil. Christ was talking to the Sadducees and Pharisees, the religious leaders, the people who had a platform, the people who claimed to speak on behalf of black people. Christ was speaking against you Negroes in particular, man. You can't give me no excuse. Mark Zuckerberg ain't never been in politics. Right. And he used his power for the sake of his people. You had some other one?
So, sir, if I may, to go back to what you were saying about the Forbes list, our people actually praise the brothers and sisters who actually make that list.
Man, we look up to them. Like, hey, you know, something such on a big, just join the billion. I remember when Kanye got on that jump as a billionaire. And it was a big thing. It shows you how far gone we are as a people, that we don't see how shameful that is. Like, we allow our leaders to not have brotherhood. Right. Like, we praise them for making it to the top and leaving us in the dirt. Like that's backwards, man. No other people would not, any other race of people will hold their leaders accountable.
That's right.
They will hold them accountable. You will hear press conferences and all types of things like, yeah, we waiting for, we need Kanye to show him he cares about black people. Like, we don't see our black leaders being held accountable, man. These are the same people that Christ spoke against in the Bible, man. And this is why, because they are garbage. They are dumb dogs. They love to sleep and eat and feed their bellies, man. But what was the point we was going to? Keep reading on this. This is what we was getting to, the article.
Mr. Zuckerberg has repeatedly said that he does not want Facebook to be an arbiter of free speech. The Silicon Valley company.
No. We was at a point.
Oh, sorry.
No sweat. You said the line is not a straight line.
Drawing the right lines between what is and isn't acceptable speech isn't straightforward.
Right. Keep reading.
But with the current state of the world, I believe this is the right balance.
With the current state of the world, I believe this is the right balance. What is... Somebody break this down before I have to say too much. Go ahead.
Sorry, sir. So he's saying, by the world being so effed up as it is, I'm going to just go ahead and make the decisions for what I want it to be.
Effed up how? Well, hone in on this. This is a skill. I'm fledgling behind me. This is a skill you have to have. You have to be able to hone in and be here tonight. What is Mark Zuckerberg saying? The condition of the world. Why does he feel it so strongly to violate the First Amendment constitutional rights of people because of the current conditions of the world? Read that part again.
Drawing the right lines between what is and what isn't acceptable speech isn't straightforward. But with the current state of the world, I believe this is the right balance.
And with the current state of the world, what is Mark Zuckerberg trying to say, y'all? Y'all gotta be fluid and devil, man. Come on, y'all. You gotta be fluid and devil. We go to camp, y'all get the spirit of speaking. We Lord allow, we get the battle. You gotta be able to be fluid and devil. Devils don't, it's a snake. Right. They don't say what they're saying, right. But you have to understand what they're saying. What is this devil saying? With the current state of the world. I said it earlier. When did World War II end? 1945? That's when the Holocaust was going on. That's when the Holocaust ended. In 1950, do you think that they had to tell anybody the Holocaust was real? Why?
Because they knew that it was real. They was fresh out of it.
Right. What's the difference between 1950 and 2020? Why is it now people don't believe the Holocaust is real? When it was popular sentiment that everybody believed this was real. What changed from 1950 to now? What changed from 1945 to now?
More of our people are aware that the white man is the devil.
Give me the precept. We just read it. The man of sin is being. You ain't got to get it. I was quoting. The man of sin is being revealed. That's what Mark Zuckerberg is saying. He's telling y'all, and y'all not listening. The I.S.U.P.K. is revealing the man of sin to be a liar.
That's right.
And now, because since 1969, the prophets of God have been exposing and revealing who this man is, now people aren't believing us like they used to believe us. People aren't believing our word like they used to. And what does that mean for the white man?
Bad business.
The day of Christ, goddamn.
Right.
And that's what that means. Listen, y'all, let me put this together. Put together. The white man understands if black people start to not believe what he says, what's another lie that he has told us? That is the most important one that we should not believe. If we stop believing something as simple as the Holocaust, or we believe it was exaggerated, what else? What's the biggest lie he told us that eventually we'll start to believe? That they're the Jews to begin with. Right. That Christ is white to begin with. And when that happens, Christ is on his way back. He's already on his way, but that has to happen. You got to be able to put the pieces together, man. It all is tied into each other. And the white man sees that. The white man they have think tanks and councils and discussions and secret meetings dedicated to this type of stuff, man. Y'all see the interview with Lazy Bone? Was that Lazy Bone? I think it was Lazy Bone when he was talking about the secret meeting they had to change the course of rap and hip hop. While we kicking it and partying and enjoying life and suffering and thinking this is just this, these people are plotting 20 years ahead, man. These people are taking into consideration how can they steer the Lord's children. They thought all this out, man. That's what Mark Zuckerberg is saying. Right. Given the current, read that again, because he said it a certain way to let you know things. Read it again. It's a lot.
Drawing the right lines between what is and isn't acceptable speech isn't straightforward, but with the current state of the world, I believe this is the right balance.
With the current state of the world, meaning the world before, no, he may have felt the need to do something so heinous, so crazy as violating the constitutional right. Right. But now seeing the current state of the world, now UPK videos is flooding the internet. Hebrew Israelites is on the rise. Black people now start to see the white man as the devil. That's the current state. That's the current state, man. Right. Fox News and everybody that was covering the world has been into a frenzy trying to figure out what's going on with black people, man. Right. What is going on with black people? Black people now decide they don't want to be Christians no more. What? Brother, they understand what that means. They know these records, man. They've studied these records in and out. The Lord hasn't given them understanding on everything, but they study these records. They understand black people not believing that Christ is white is the signal that Christ is on his way to destroy everything they've established on the lie of Christ being white. Right. That's what that means, man. You had some all around Salaki. Salaki, I know I was long with it.
Come on. That's Salaki, I forgot.
That's no sweat. Get me Revelations 12 and 1. And I'm going to show you why Mark Zuckerberg said in this current time in the world, I'm going to show you what the Bible tells us what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. And this is why I say y'all got to be able to hone in as prophets of the Lord, because the answers is right here. If we study this, you'll know what he's saying, because the Bible told us what he would do before he would do it. Read this.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Break this down, anybody. Who can break this down? If not, I'll break it down. But
Can you read one more time?
mm-hmm.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
So like, was this like the metaphor for like the rulership of Esau?
It's gonna go into a little bit of that, but this is Revelation 12 is a vision that John had while he was in prison, and this vision is describing the nation of Israel and what is to come of white supremacy in the Esau's reign. The woman is the nation of Israel, the spirit of Christ. That's who the woman represents. That's why you'll read, she says, and the woman had what? Read again.
A woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
These 12 stars, as you may know, are the 12 tribes of Israel. This woman represents the spirit of Christ, the nation of Israel, right? Keep reading.
Come on. And she being with child cried, traveling in birth, and came to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold.
Now let me ask you, what does the child signify that the woman is having? This is a breakdown too. You brothers might want to. I'm looking at mine right now. This is a breakdown y'all might want to really take down a half, because this breakdown has many parts to it that if you understand what it's saying, you can relate this to many different precepts. Something as simple as the sun and the moon clothe her. You know what I'm saying? The dragon, this breakdown is all throughout the scriptures.
That child is a miracle.
Lie.
Can you keep so like? Never mind. Go ahead.
So it said the woman represents the nation of Israel.
Okay.
You understand? Right. The woman is having a child. What does this child represent? Read it, so like read verse. Read what was that?
Verse 2. Sir.
Yeah, read that again.
And she, being with child, cried, traveling in birth.
Travailing in birth.
Travailing in birth.
What does this represent? What does it mean to travail? What does a woman? It's just compare it to context. What does a woman feel during childbirth? Pain, suffering, man. What does the child signify? What this woman is having? I'll give it to you for time's sake. The child signifies the kingdom. You understand? The rulership of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And it's a pain for us to establish this place. You got to think about not just now. Think about how long the prophets and black people have been fighting to get back our own nation. How long has it? Think about it. Now, we're looking at American history. How long has it been, and how much have we suffered for us to not be in oppression, for us to be back in rulership, man, to have our own nation? And the things that we have endured, that we still endure, because we don't have our own nation yet, man. Think about the prophets that were murdered. Think about the violence that we suffered preaching this, teaching this right here, man. Right. Think about how our forefathers had to read the scriptures in caves. You understand? Or risking their eyes burned out. Think about how we had to, just think about all the suffering that we went through just for us to come back to our culture so that we can establish our nation. That's what the child signifies. The nation of Israel being a kingdom, unified as a kingdom and being in rulership. You understand? That's what this child signifies. And it's a pain, it's suffering for us to do this. Even now, brothers, y'all sacrifice to come here and do this job. This is not a light job. We sacrifice to do this. The Kentucky 8 risked their lives and fought for their lives at camp, man. That's pain and suffering. Think about the Kentucky 8 that was before time. How many times that didn't happen to the brothers and the prophets before, man? Think about the countless stories of the prophets that we don't read about. This has always been the case, and that's the pain that travaileth, the travailing that we're reading about to establish our kingdom, Christ's kingdom, man. Right? So keep reading.
Come. Verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Now we will go into the crowns and heads, who they are specifically, but who's the dragon? Who is the red dragon?
Sorry, sir, if I may. That's Esau.
It's the dragon represents Esau. And the 10 heads and crowns represent the nations and the kingdoms that came out of the nation of Esau. I don't have the specific nations. You will have to hit up Officer Bun, if I'm not mistaken. Last time I checked, he was the one that had the nations. I gotta get my list updated. But this is talking about Esau. And from the time we've been in captivity and lost our nation, Esau has had, think of all the nations that conquered the earth. They were European nations, man. They were Esau's nations, Edomites, right. The Portuguese, Spain, the French, the Dutch, the Germans, Britain. You understand? This is talking about the different rulerships and nations of Esau. The dragon represents Esau. You understand? Keep reading.
Come. Having, and his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
What is the dragon trying to do? Devour this child before it's born. That's why Mark Zuckerberg is fighting. Listen, it's all the scriptures are so heavy. Break it down.
The dragon is trying to stop the kingdom from coming on the earth.
That's what it is. Esau, the dragon, he knows what happens when this woman gives birth. He knows what happens. That's why he's seeking to devour the child, to stop it from being born before it's even born. And everything that we see happen to us, especially being in the truth now, and that has happened before, we are when they crucified Christ. That's what that was, man. We are watching our oppressor, you understand, trying to stop the birth of our kingdom before it's born. Because what does the birth of our kingdom mean for them? Slavery, man. That's a good answer. I was going to just say something simple. The end of theirs. You go straight to the point. Specific slavery, chains, shackles. And then I said that's what the birth of our kingdom, Christ's kingdom, signifies the end of their kingdom. And so this dragon is fighting to stop this kingdom from being born, you understand, before it's even born. And that's why you see Mark Zuckerberg taking his power and platform and using it to ban free speech. You understand? Because Mark Zuckerberg understands that if I allow people to say the Holocaust didn't happen or that it's exaggerated, then I'll allow people to not believe what we say. And I'll tell you why. The white man wants, the oppressor needs us to believe his words. And I can prove it to you. Read that the verse you just read again.
And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth.
Now, I'm doing a quick breakdown of Revelation 12. If y'all want to get the full breakdown, it's definitely on there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving it to the point where I want to prove this point I'm saying right here. But there's a full breakdown on what the 3rd of the stars and everything. You understand? I'm giving a quick breakdown for time's sake. Keep reading.
And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for her to devour her child as soon as it was born.
As soon as it was born. Soon as it see sight of the kingdom, you know what I'm saying, coming forth, it's trying to devour. That's why Christ, when he came on earth and proclaimed himself to be the king of the Jews, what did that signify? What did that say to the Romans? Just imagine this. If a man came to a people who have no real leader, who are underneath the occupation of another people, and this brother claims to be the king of this people, what does that make people do? It makes them rally behind this person now. And when they rally behind this man that claims to be the king, they can start to establish a nation.
Right.
That's why the Sadducees and Pharisees, who was working with the Romans, said, if we let him alone, surely all people will believe on him.
Right.
Because he claimed to be the king of the Jews. And Esau understood what that meant. He understood that is the start of the kingdom. Guess what? They killed Christ. Christ is still our king.
Right.
And we still profess Christ to be a black man. We still profess the Jews to be black. And Esau knows the more that happens, their kingdom is done. Keep reading.
And she brought forth a man-child who was the rule of all nations with a rod of iron. And
who's this man-child? To rule all nations with a rod of iron. I just said it. Who's the man-child? Christ. Christ is going to rule all nations with a rod of iron. That's what's going to happen. Y'all think Christians think Christ is going to come back and there's going to be a democracy and this is going to run. You listen, man. Y'all thought Hitler was bad. You ain't seen that when Christ come back, man. Christ is going to come back and he's going to rule with absolute authority, man.
That's right.
Like, the world hasn't seen that yet.
Right.
The world hasn't seen real rulership yet. You'll see it when Christ comes back. He's going to rule every single nation with a rod of iron, man. And the white man knows that. That's why they killed Christ the first time when he claimed to be the king of Jews. Because the Jews having a king means the Jews are a nation. And what happens when we become a nation?
So we run the earth.
We run the goddamn earth, man. It's not rocket science. If you know the scriptures, it's right here. If we become a nation, we don't sit on the bottom no more. You see what we did in America in Tulsa, Oklahoma, as former slaves, man. We established a thriving city whose economy was so much greater than America's in this hellhole. Imagine if we became a nation. We're not equal to nobody, man. We're not equal to nobody, and they know that. Us becoming a nation it guarantees everybody else being on the bottom. The good thing about that is it's going to happen. They've been fighting for it to not happen. It's going to happen. Slap it, Rob. You had something?
For Esau, the end of the world.
For Esau, the end of the world, Jacob was the beginning, man.
That's right.
Their kingdom is going to end, and their end is our beginning. That's why it has to happen. Go ahead, brother.
Sir, if I may. They was in the depression when we was thriving in Tulsa and other cities, right?
Brother, you brought up something so heavy, and I didn't want to steer into this too much because this is a topic I love. When did Black Wall Street happen? I'll give a specific year. I'll give a specific year for you. 1921. When was the Great Depression? $1929. What you understand is the Great Depression didn't happen overnight. There were things that led up to the country going to the Depression. Meaning, while the Great Depression was building up to it happening that way. While America is about to suffer the poorest time of their history, Black people are absolutely thriving. Like, you look at the 20s, they don't tell us about the history of the 20s a lot because you've seen Black people with cars, with fancy cars, buying new cars, in the jazz clubs and being thriving people, man. And we did this living in this hellhole, not even as a nation. Imagine if all Black people had came together in America to do that. This is just a group of Black people in one small town in the Midwest who decided to do this. And we surpassed the economy of these devils.
So, sir, if I may, I know about Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, but our success in raising up cities, it was going all over the country. Is our success and progress, did this lead up to their depression? Is that what spells their depression, our progress?
You could speculate that, but if you know anything about the scriptures, you would know it's a direct correlation.
Right.
They thrive, we suffer. We thrive, they suffer. We can't seem to grasp that. You know who understood that? The white men flying the planes who was dropping grenades on Black Wall Street. They understood that. They understood these Negroes got pianos, and I ain't got a damn razor to shave my face. You know what I'm saying? They understand there is no coexisting. There's no co-thriving. Esau has always understood that. We understood it at one point. Now we've been fed that garbage, another lie from the dragon, that we all can exist and thrive together. That's a lie, man. Right. When they thrive, we suffer, just like right now. And when we thrive, they suffer. That's a good analysis. You could say that could be a good spur, what spurred the Great Depression. Black cities spurring up all across America and having their own black economy. We don't need America's economy. We established everything we needed amongst ourselves. You understand? Let's go back to the scripture so I can get that to the verse I want. For time's sake. Brother got a question. I'm going to get the breakdown on this too. Keep reading. Come.
This Revelation chapter 12, verse 5. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there. 1,203 days.
Well, this is talking about the woman being fled to the wilderness is when we go into the wilderness to be taught and trained. You understand? To behave like Christ. This is what that means. I ain't going to the full breakdown because I want to get to the verse. But that when the woman going to the wilderness is when we are brought to be taught and trained into the wilderness. You understand? Keep reading.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil.
Right, that's the Bible. That's the Bible calling the white man the devil. That's if you didn't know, it was another precept for you, another one to prove to you the white man's the devil. Keep reading. What verse we
at? Verse 9.
Skip me down to 15 for time's sake, because I'm trying to break this brother scripture down.
Verse 15.
Now, 15 is what the point I wanted to get to. What we about to read in verse 15 is the Bible prophesying and telling us exactly why Mark Zuckerberg denied people their constitutional right to freedom of speech. And this is why. Read that.
Verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
Read that again.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
What is this saying? What is the water that comes out of the serpent's mouth? Barak. Lies. What is the white man's greatest force?
Propaganda.
That's the word that sums it up. To convince people of a lie. That's the white man's greatest force. We think his military might is his greatest achievement. Those words, what comes out of his mouth. It's been like that since the beginning. His father, that old serpent, the devil, from the beginning, he was a murderer. He abode not in the truth. You understand? Go ahead, Rock.
So, like, if I may give just a quick precept paraphrase, like even back in what was it, Egypt, like Pharaoh said, "Let us deal with them wise." Like they tried everything. The only way that they could truly defeat us was by what was the king or the helper or something that was saying the only way we can destroy them was to get them to turn away from their God. That
was when we were in Syrian captivity. And they wanted to take over Israel. They wanted to fight us. And one of his advisors who knew our records, the way our enemies always knew our records, he said, listen, if we can't attack them if they following their God, meaning if they went and seen us following those laws, they knew we can't mess with them because they knew our God would favor us. But they said, if they're not following their God, then we know we can beat them. That's why today, when you go to the gas station and you go get some chips, or sunflower seeds, you got to see all the blunt wraps and black and milds and everything, all the paraphernalia. That's why when you go and buy something, you got to read the ingredients and see if it's pork in it or not. That's why you got to teach your kids that being gay is wrong. That's why we have to fight to not be sinners, because the white man's greatest force is to convince people of a lie. And that's what they have always done. What Mark Zuckerberg is doing right here is simply trying to wash away. You got to think of the analogy. Water came out of the serpent's mouth to try to wash away the woman. Right. The white man is trying to wash away the truth with his words. That's why when Nick Cannon said the Jews are black, here come that water to wash away. Right. You understand? Even though Nick Cannon is not the truth. But how many of us first heard the white man's a devil from the UPK? You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers that's in the truth now didn't hear it first from the UPK. Right. You know what I'm saying? You never know how the Lord may have a brother come in here. You got brothers here that came from fake Israelite groups. Right. You understand? So you don't understand the power, and more people saying the white man is a devil is a push towards more people understanding that this is not who we should give our love to, and we should give our love to our own brothers. And that's what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. That's the current climate he's talking about. He's a serpent. He's a devil. He understands I have to get the tide back on my side. That's why people use that analogy. Yeah, the tide is against you, man. You know what I'm saying? The water is against the white man, man. Right. Because black people are waking up to see who he is. We're going to drop that. Give me the brother one, 2 Peter 2 and 4. Let's write this down and we're going to end it. Yeah. Revelation 12 breakdown is a heavy breakdown, man. And you can get the full breakdown on it. I love to hear it talk. Jeremiah teaching it is heavy, man. Go ahead, read that, brother.
2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment.
Read it. Go to verse 1.
Verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction.
Can you read?
And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. And through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time longeth not, lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly.
So what this is, I can see why I brought up a question on this. So it says, for God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. This is right here is referring to, if you go back to the Genesis breakdown of Noah, before the Lord flooded the earth, you gotta get that breakdown on men of great renown, sons of God. You understand? This is not talking about actual angels being cast down to the earth. Look, I know you don't believe that, but I know fake Israelites and nutcases use this. White men will try to use this to try to justify. Well, the Nephilim, that's the word. The Nephilim, and the angels came down and slept with the human women. It's garbage. the angels is referring to in this context Black, Hispanic, and Native American men. You understand? That's why in Genesis it says, sons of God found the daughters of men to be fair. The sons of God is talking about Black, Hispanic, and Native American men, Israelite men who seen heathen women to be beautiful. And the Lord destroyed the earth because of that. And I can prove it to you. That's what this is talking about. If you go down to verse 5, it'll tell you. Keep reading.
And spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly.
Why did the Lord flood the earth?
So like this earth I made for his people sleeping with other nations.
Interracial marriage. That's the precept I just went into when it says the sons of God. That's what this is talking about here. Now the breakdown for this is saying like the Most High is going to give punishment, you understand, to those who slander the truth. Like for those who don't really teach the truth, who come into the truth. And then I'll give you a perfect example. And I ain't gonna go too much into it because I know Commander YAHANNA, if he ain't say much about it, then we don't say much about it. You got cats that left the school and started their own groups. You know what I'm saying? Now we're in the truth and they started their own groups and claim to have the truth. And now they're not on this earth anymore. And that's all I'll say about that. The Lord gives judgment for those who tries to destroy the truth, man. You understand? And it's nothing worse for you. It's different to be on the outside trying to destroy the truth, but it's nothing worse than you to come in here and then try to destroy the truth. And you destroy the truth by separating from the truth and then slandering and lying and stuff like that. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is talking about this, but I'll get more clarification on that. I definitely will ask about this, just to be sure, but I definitely know it's not talking about fallen angels. You understand? It's talking about how the Lord rendered judgment unto his people, you understand, unto the earth for their sins, man. But with that, we're going to pass the class over to Prince and Trooper Barack.
Security and announcements, we the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West, 125th Street, the Harlem, New York, under Commander YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They hear the shells of the word. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has a particular interest in a person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, if the brother or sister will get permission, if the brother or sister will court each other, after the 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes was a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. It means 10th in Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ishara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the treasury department of teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like to give. The upcoming holy convocation would be the Feast of Dedication, which is the 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days, which is Wednesday, December 9th of this year, 2020, for 8 days. You can find this in 1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 52 through 61 as well. And regarding the 51st annual Passover, just keep, once again, in close contact with your camp leader. Anything you want to add, Jensen?
No,
If a brother, remind Argument Aguati to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If your brother wants to be a trooper in the school, you should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband, and scarf. And with that, I'll say Amajim, which means to stand. Walk on Yahweh, which means turn and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shamka. Yahweh. Malakotka. Taba'ah. Radazayaka. Hayah. Aisha. Ba'araktiza. Kawa. Hayah. Bashamayim. Nathanawa. Lakam. Kaya. Yawam. Wasalakinawa. Kabawakinawa. Kasalakinawa. Kabawakinawa. Wala'ah. Tabaya'ayanawa. Gonna say the one. Abo. Habashayanawa. Mayan. Ra. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Wa'ala. Wahatapara. La'awalanyu. Aman.
The water will be in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth. As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
Forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not.
And lead us not
into temptation.
into temptation.
But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever. So be it.
So be it.
To the Hakak is the power. Yahweh.
By
Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Baba Kashar. Thunder now. Hakak. Lara Pa'ah. Kamakala. Wakamarawa. Hakak. Lataha. Hamatazarayim. Hakak. Lahakim. Hamathium. Hakak. Awakawa. Watama'ala. Lagarashan. Ba'ashem. Yahushua. The water Amah.
And in the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh. Please. Give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the leper.
The power to cleanse the leper.
The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you. So be it.
The blessings. Barakatah Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh.
Mayaki Allah.
Wa
Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Matazabaya. Alawap Yahanna. Alawapyum. Hasaranyum. Hakwatazayanyum. Hakaya Yanyum. Wahakwafium. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahushua. The water Amah.
And in the English, bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And
Michael.
And
the angel. Commanding General Yohanan.
The general.
The captain.
The officers.
The
The troopers.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh. Thank you. So be it. The one who do the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh. King of heaven and earth. And all things living. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh. Listen to us now. Right now. Said evils and curses. And punishment and destruction. To the heathen. That speak against us. Thy prophet. The teachers. The princes. The priests. The Israelite brothers. And the schools. Said evils and curses. And punishment and destruction. To the heathen. And shake loose. The treasure of the rich of Israel. That refuse to get to the school. Force their riches. To enter into thy sanctuary. Said evils and curses. And punishment and destruction. To the Edomites. And the nation. And their drug dealers. And the court system. The prison system. Planned Parenthood. All the governments of our enemies. Amalek synagogues and armies. Roman Catholic Church. The Pope. Islam. Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinhead, posse comitatus, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the airways, the cable access channel, and the radio channel, convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way, or try to stop us from broadcasting your word throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh Shai, Michael and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathen that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world. Cause it to shake it not coming. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you always. So be it. We're going to bless Israel. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahweh. Barak Lanaw. Wayasha'ala. Wahaya. Sapari. Barak. Rapah. Magun. Ba'ashem. Yahweh. The water Amah. In the English. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh. Bless us. And Israel. And the school. Bless. Heal. Shield. Protect. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So big. Men of Israel, saw. We're going to do one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Imad Shabbat, Imagine, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat.
You guys my tongue? Class dismissed.
It's a lot.